Good day, good love, and good light, illuminators and way showers, our ET friends and family, physical and non-physical beings, all of you watching from every realm, every reality. Thank you once again for joining us and bringing your gang all along with you too. We're so excited once again and welcome you and Jonathan and all of our questions for our Yahyel family, our ET family, and Jonathan. Was it August 1st? We did part 1, and we didn't even get close to asking all the questions and the questions from all of you because we just had so much fun exploring and having Jonathan tell us all about all of his connections, how he got connected. So if you missed part 1 and Jonathan's links, everything's down below in the description here. So welcome once again to part 2. And we're so excited. And I got to tell you, what's it been since August 1st, I think I said, that we did part 1. And so many exciting things have just, and synchronicities for not only Dave and I, but I've been watching Jonathan for the last couple of weeks as well, and his exciting sightings and realizations. And so we're really excited to hear from him too, what's happened since then, and to also invite all of you in the live chat to please do place your questions there for Jonathan and or the Yahyel. And so yeah, without further ado, what else do I want to say? If you want to learn more about me, you can find me at languagesoflights.com. My links down below too. I'm Wendy. This is Dave.
and events and other kind of things
Yes.
going on, you could find on the website. And like and follow the channel. And we also are going to be posting this also on the YouTube Open Contact TV channel, where we're going to slowly be moving the Open Contact related content to that and that website, opencontacttv.com.
So yeah, if you want to go over there and subscribe over there, Open Contact TV, and that way we'll be able to see also more and more events on that YouTube channel as well. And we also have YouTube, YouTube, opencontacttv.com, where it's just say hi and check mark your vote for Open Contact, because it's an energetic thing. And the more we all invite it into our lives, into our hearts, into our realities, we make it a reality where we finally get to meet our star brothers and sisters. And so this is the first levels of first contact is this way, through channelers like Jonathan and myself, and so many out there who are bringing more and more of this amazing, beautiful, heart-based energy to our planet for all of us to create a reality in which this is our reality. And so, yes, I could just burst with excitement about all of this and meeting our hybrid children. And so, yeah.
Let's say hello to Jonathan.
Hey, Jonathan.
Hello everyone. Nice to see you again.
You too. So let's see, where do we want to start? Well, I don't want to review too much of what we did before, because you guys can go watch the other one. So yeah, Jonathan, kind of maybe jump in wherever you want. I don't know if you want to review a little bit of anything that we talked about before as far as how you got into all of this, or if you just want to jump in from where we left off. And we'll also be watching for questions from the live chat.
And I just wanted to also say, and you could fill us in on your excitement, but last night we saw a fairy ring portal just in time for today's event.
And it actually appeared seriously in our yard. You can look it up. Fairy rings, it's a thing.
Yeah, mushrooms all
and it's just and so this big circle of mushrooms. And so there's definitely connection to our hybrid children and our star families and our connections to Earth, and these portals that are popping up. So it was super exciting. I've got pictures of it I'll be posting.
Yeah, we're very excited to talk about that. And Bashar does say that those exist to facilitate the elementals participating in our reality, and also to open portals for higher dimensions, for beings to be able to come into our reality through the mushroom portal.
And it was really quite
yeah.
a thing, you guys, because I looked up and I said, what is that? And it was just this bright red, orange, yellow circle. And we thought maybe it was
looked like somebody
melons or
somebody
lay it out there.
It looked like somebody went in the yard and just dumped fruit all over.
It was just crazy. And then we go up there and these beautiful red, yellow, orange mushrooms, and tall little red one. It looks like literally like an actual fairy garden.
Sort of like a cartoon.
It does. It still does, and it's still out there. So anyway, we wanted to mention that was one of our synchronicities just last night.
So just very quickly, Wishbone, how did Commander Farron of the Sirius Cats use the Lionsgate portal? I'm not familiar at all with any of that. And Sean Rose says, I think it's time for another Phoenix-like type event, but worldwide. Are they planning anything?
Woohoo! Well,
so there's two good questions to start with. And I'll be watching my phone on YouTube. And let's hear about your excitement, Jonathan, and then you could bring forth whatever information you or the Yahyel or whoever wants to come and say hi. We're more than excited to hear all of that.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks for having me on, Wendy and Dave. And so for those of you who see me the first time, I'm Jonathan Trinity Martin. You can find my YouTube channel at Jonathan Trinity Martin. You can also add me on Facebook under the same name, and check out my website, jonathantrinity.com. And so just to address those couple of questions quickly, I know Wishbone, he's my friend, and he actually messaged me that before on my messenger before we started, and I got the message that I think he said, how did Commander Farron of Sirius use the Lionsgate portal to come to Earth? It was something like that. He messaged me, and what I received, so I don't know who Commander Farron is, honestly. But what I received is that the Lionsgate portal is a powerful energy portal where the frequencies on Earth become higher, and also we resonate with the frequencies of Sirius during the Lionsgate portal. So it formed a frequency that was closer to the frequency that the Sirius beings like Commander Farron naturally resonate on. So it was kind of conducive to him coming to Earth on that day. Because I think when we have contact experiences, we seem to get these times when there's more contact and times when there's less contact. And I think the times when we're seeing more UFO sightings, having more experiences, very often around this time of year are times when the energies on Earth are more conducive, are more similar, are closer to the frequency of the ETs. They're a little bit higher frequency, they're a little bit more balanced, they're perhaps a little bit more multidimensional. So that's what occurs with the Lionsgate. And someone else was saying we're about due for another Phoenix Lights sighting, and so don't we all agree with that? And for those of you who don't know the Phoenix Lights, the Yahyel say that the Phoenix Lights was actually their ship, and the Phoenix Lights was a massive sighting over the Phoenix Basin, they call it, in is it Arizona? Sorry, my US geography isn't brilliant, but yeah, it was over the whole city of Phoenix, and tens of thousands of people actually saw it, including the governor of Phoenix at the time, who at the time kind of tried to push it aside, but has later gone on record to say that he believes it was an alien craft. It couldn't have been anything else, because it was like this mile-wide ship that glided over the city, and he saw it himself, the actual governor of Phoenix. and it was completely silent. And yeah, so it was I believe, a Yahyel mothership, you know, and it'd be interesting if it happened today, because of course it happened back in 1997, where very few people had their own cameras, even though there was video footage and several photographs of it taken. Like this was the time when perhaps 1 in 1,000 people had a camera, and you know, probably less than that, you know, out on the street. I mean, how many people took a camera out with them every night in 1997?
Yeah.
Only, although apparently there were a lot of people outside with telescopes and stuff, because it was they were waiting for Halley's comet, I believe, to come over.
Oh, okay.
So there would have been more than normal people with cameras and stuff out. So, but imagine if it happened today, like when you know 10,000 people plus saw it that they estimated, and like now everyone, pretty much everyone, like 90. What do you think? 95% of people have a camera phone in their pockets when they're out on the
Yeah, and I believe it was also seen over northern Mexico, and was it
yes,
Utah?
and or Nevada,
Or
part of Nevada, and part of and Mexico, and so it was seen quite a ways away.
Yeah, so it didn't just pop in over Phoenix.
It's crazy that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And but it was there for a long time, though. I mean, it was over Phoenix for quite some time. So that is very, very exciting.
Yeah, I would like to have more of those events.
And really, too, I was thinking about the channeling events and CE5 events and things like that. And you know, I like to remind people too that it's, you know, it's about all of us doing. You don't necessarily have to go to one of those events. You don't. It's about feeling the energy in your and looking up in your own backyard, no matter where and when you are in the world, and just saying, yes, I would really like that. I would love to meet my star family, or I would love to be able to, you know, interact with them and or even just see a ship, you know. So, which, yes, we're very excited to hear more about your recent sightings.
Yes, so I'm just remembering questions what you touched on about meeting our star family. That was one of the questions from last time, I believe, that we didn't get around to answering. And I think I quickly gave the answer: just set the intent to meet them, and you will. And so there's lots of things we can do to begin to meet our star family, to begin to see lights in the skies, which is normally how it happens first. Or perhaps it can happen first for some people in dreams or visions. You know, it happens in many different ways, but for me, it happened first with sightings in the sky. And yeah, so there's the CE5 method, which is what Dr. Stephen Greer teaches, the CE5 coherent thought sequencing, which you can look up, the letters CE, the number 5. Look up Dr. Stephen Greer, and there's actually an app on the internet called the CE5 app. I think that's what they call it now. It's an app you can download that will teach you how to do this. And it's basically, you go into a meditative state, and you practice meditation, so you can get into a deeper state of consciousness. And you can also do meditations like chakra activations and third eye activations. You can look all this up on YouTube. There's a load of these out there. And these will activate your chakras, the energy centers that we have going through our body and our third eye, that gives us access to other dimensions of reality. And from here, the CE5 meditation, you actually do a series of visualizations. Just quickly, what you do is you visualize, you're kind of setting the intent of meditating and setting the intent to connect with the ETs. And this is how it all started for me. I would set the intent. I would go into the meditative state, do like a chakra activation, a third eye activation, focus on the very center of my brain. And when I felt like I was entering into an altered state of consciousness, I would visualize first the flying saucer, because this is all I knew about ETs at the time. I didn't know much about them. I visualized a plastic flying saucer, then I visualized the head of the grey extraterrestrial. That was the only ET I knew at the time, with the big black eyes. And so it's no coincidence I connected with the Yahyel and Bashar later on. And then, so I'm setting the intent to connect with ETs and connecting with ET consciousness by doing this. And then I visualize the Milky Way galaxy. And so you're saying to the ETs that you've begun to connect with Milky Way galaxy. This is where I reside. This is I'm in the Milky Way galaxy. Then you visualize the ring at the doorbell. Maybe that's the ETs. The precursor's just turned up to test me. Am I going to answer? Am I going to choose?
Hey, don't let us stop you and join them in.
And then I would visualize the solar system, our solar system, like, so it can be good to do a bit of research on the internet, what the Milky Way galaxy, our galaxy looks like, what our solar system looks like. Even if you think, you know, it probably looks a little bit different. I was, oh. So then I visualize our solar system. You know, I can't even really think what our solar system looks like now. You know, I always get the planets mixed up. And then visualize planet Earth. So you're visualizing in your third eye, just imagining. If you don't know what to talk about, it's just basically imagining, very similar. You're visualizing planet Earth. Then you visualize the country you live in as from above. Like, so for me now it'd be Peru. At the time it was the UK. And then you visualize where you're located on Earth. And you know, you use a landmark, and for me, like, I'm about 100 kilometers from Machu Picchu, so the ETs are probably know, I'm sure they know Machu Picchu, so I could visualize like Machu Picchu and then sort of do an image of like I'm 100 kilometers away from Machu Picchu, and then visualize like just the best you can, like I used to visualize like my location from the coast in the UK and show them a map of the coast and kind of put a dot on the map where I am. Then I would visualize Lincoln Cathedral, a big landmark like 4 miles away from where I live. And then I visualized like a little dot 4 miles southeast from Lincoln Cathedral. I was at my parents' house at the time. And then I visualized this big, huge, great walnut tree, this massive walnut tree that I could see out my bedroom window at the time. And I did this, and I just did this over and over again for about 6 or 7 weeks. And after 6 or 7 weeks, I had a series of UFO sightings. I had three UFO sightings, 3 ET sightings over the space of that time, and over a few weeks after that. And yeah, so it works. I did it every night for around, see, I was passionate about it. This is, the more passionate you are about it, the more committed you are to it, the more likely you are to get results. I think this is probably why I've had, so like people might say, like, why do you see them all the time? And this is kind of the reason. I was always passionate about it. This is even before I knew about, you know, the passion process, or whatever Bashar calls it, following the excitement. I just really loved it. I enjoyed the meditations. I loved doing the meditations. I started seeing visions of different worlds, different planets. And I did it every night for 6 or 7 weeks. I really got into the meditation. I think partly because it's a big part of my path, and that's why I just really enjoyed every single part of it so much. And like since then, like the more committed I get to it, the more sightings I see. Like I remember, like around 3.5 years ago, I did an interview for an Irish radio station. The Niall Boylan show, quite a big Irish radio station, and they showed up literally a week to the day after I did the interview, and it was kind of like them saying, "Yeah, thank you. This is our confirmation that we're happy with what you're doing. We're really pleased you're doing this. So here we are giving you confirmation." And after that, I had a lot of sightings, and coming up to present day. I hadn't really had a sighting for about a year until recently, well, I'll get to in a minute. I did actually see a light over there a few months ago that I'm not sure about. I'm fairly certain, I get confused with time. Time is very confusing the more you awaken.
That's true.
The sighting I had a few weeks ago, I think I had the sighting a few days after doing your interview.
Yes, I remember the video that you did, and I clearly saw it in the video.
Sorry, the connection's getting a bit slow. I think.
Oh.
So you.
Oh, are we good? Oh, wait, hang on.
Yeah.
One moment. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, we're back.
Yes, I could clearly see what you showed in the video when the sighting that you did the video on, and I think it was shortly after the first interview. Yeah, it was pretty great.
Yeah, it was like they came and they yeah, I had a sighting for the first time. I maybe saw something about 6 months ago. I'm not sure, just a flash in the sky, but I haven't really seen certainly no major sightings for a year until a few days after I did the interview last time, which was probably about a month ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were kind of confirming that I'm on the right path. And then again, when was it? I don't know. Like, it was not long ago. I'm trying to think what happened. Yeah, it was only a few nights ago. It was Thursday night. Yeah, Thursday night. So we're Monday. So 4 nights ago, yeah, they came again. I'd just done a session with a client who is also excited by the path of extraterrestrial contact, really into the ET contact thing. I went outside and saw like a light moving really slowly over the mountain up here where my land looks. They see them a lot around here. It's quite common knowledge. It's part of the culture here. Like I said last time, a lot more open to it here. And I told my landlord, I said where I saw it. And he said, yeah, that's where they come a lot. A lot of people see them up there. And I actually made a video like about 18 months ago. I saw them here and I got a video of them. This little tiny flashing lights, but I did catch them on video, and it was very close to they were actually on the mountain then, but this is stopped near the phone aerial, the cell phone aerials, and there was just a light moving really faintly and really slowly over the top of the mountain above the aerial, and I felt like it was them. It just looked very like it was an ET sign. I've seen quite a lot now, and I know what to see. It seemed to be going slower than a satellite would. Satellites seem to go faster than that. I've never really seen a satellite go that slow. The perspective was quite, it appeared to be a ship just over the mountain. And I shouted to my friend that works here to come out and have a look. He was on reception and he came out because he's got an interest in it too. And his friend actually saw a ship here not so long ago, lights. And he came out and then the light disappeared. And then I thought, oh, maybe he's not meant to see it, because this sometimes happens. Sometimes it's like only certain people, they only want to show themselves to certain people, I guess, who are ready, or I don't know why, but often they'll disappear when I try and show it to other people. And it disappeared. But then I was like, it's up there, look up there. And then we were both looking up there, and all of a sudden a flash, really bright flash, just above where the ship was. And so it was pretty obvious then, like while we're both looking at a portion of the sky, waiting to see if there's an ET there, all of a sudden there's a flash of light. There's really, I don't know what else flashes in the sky like that. I used to think maybe a meteorite that's coming directly at you. But I mean, what are the odds of that? Like a meteorite coming directly at you. Just when you're looking up in the sky where you think there's alien ETs waiting for a sighting. So, and then a little bit afterwards, I saw them again. They moved up over the top of me. Yeah, so that's an update to where we're at.
Well, I have to say, our dreams have been extremely more vivid and more ET connection related these last 3 weeks as well. Dave had a really interesting dream too. So I think that that's one of the things that we wanted to talk about too on Open Contact TV, is about how just sharing our dreams also helps us connect to each other in our dreams. And I'm certain on other levels that even Dave and I were like, we've woken up and said, you know, I think we were like hanging out with Jonathan last night, or we were on the ship last night, or and the feeling that you get in the confirmation feels like just this wave of love. I don't even know how to even explain the confirmation, because you can't prove it other than your knowing and your feeling of, yep, I know that that's true. So it has also been very activating for us as well.
So I would say, as far as questions relating to or for the Yahyel, one of my burning questions is to know a little bit more about the relationship of the Yahyel and the Jewish Exodus story, and the protection of the Jewish lineage, and what part did they play in that, and what information that they could provide along those lines, the DNA involved, the lineage, the culture, what importance it plays in the hybrid children and the next hybrid races coming to live with us.
Because Bashar had mentioned things about that, and there's also a question too from Christina as well. A question for the Yahyel about can they give us some advice on healing the body? And you're welcome. Thank you for being at this event, because if it wasn't for all of us and our passion, and I will agree with you, Jonathan, that when I very first came on to all of this in about 2010, I will say, my passion also was so strong. I couldn't get enough of the information, and the more that it resonated, the more I wanted, and the more passionate I was about it, and the more I also was passionate about going into the meditations in the wanting to connect with them. And I know that that's why we're all here today together, because in one way, shape, or form, we've all perhaps done our own excitement work when it comes to just opening ourselves up to that. And I even used just a simple spiral object, and it was my it was my permission slip to tune into their entire consciousness as well. So I truly believe that the passion and the wanting of it is very, I don't want to say necessary, but I think it's pretty necessary.
Yeah, and really just the idea too, how much connecting with nature plays into the whole bigger picture of things, and how the hybrid children also sort of, it starts with connecting with nature, and they connect with nature, and using that as a permission slip perhaps to allow more of the higher ET contact to come in. And it all starts with connecting with nature. And even if you're going out to look in the sky for UFOs, connecting with nature as the first step in wherever you might be is going to allow more of that contact, because really the nature is within us, and so is everything else. So that's
and there's also another question too about CE contact. So I don't know how do you want us to just go ahead and ask you the questions, and then you can just decide how you want to address them, Jonathan?
Oh, I can answer.
Yeah, well,
Let me do this really quick. Can you do a CE5 meditation by yourself to contact ETs, or do you need to have a group of people? And the answer is, because I know a little bit about it, you could do it by yourself. It's, I don't want to say it's better in groups, but I think it's more effective even individually to do it as a group. But by all means, if you don't have somebody to go do it with and you want to go do it, that means you're being called to go do it, and just go do it, even if it's just standing outside. And I will tell you, Jonathan, I have noticed more since we moved to Alabama, being outside versus sitting inside.
Yes.
Really seems to, for whatever reason, make a big difference in connecting with the higher vibration.
Mhm.
I mean, I almost every night that I sit outside and look up at the sky, when you could see how clouds,
we
I see
almost
shooting
see-
stars, I
yeah.
see things, not specifically unidentified objects, but I mean, I would be like, you know, okay, Yahyel, show me a ship, and I will see a shooting star.
Well,
So
right.
it's
And
no
often they say
coincidence.
that they do present themselves
Yeah.
that way. So
And I think within each person's consciousness, you will see things however is best meant for you. So it could be a shooting star, it could be an actual UFO. And for me personally, I felt so strongly and just have known that the idea of ETs exists my whole life. I
yes,
don't
me
need
too.
to see a ship to start believing in them. So they might just present as a shooting star or a light or a flashing light, or even sometimes fireflies. And I've seen, of course, orbs and
Yes, me too.
uh,
I've had videos where they
sprite
just
kind of
they float
things.
around the room in some of the videos, and I don't even necessarily always see them, but oftentimes you can see them just spinning around the
Yeah.
room.
And sometimes, I mean, obviously things like that could be explained, you know, dust in the air or whatever, but it doesn't really matter if you could explain it, because you're connecting to that consciously, and you're making it all up in your head anyway. So it sometimes the easiest way, the path of least resistance, is use physical reality as it already exists and is accepted to present itself to you,
to us.
and you create the meaning for it yourself. So if you use it in a way that's meaningful for having the contact, or you know, just knowing fairies exist without actually seeing something specific, then that's the reality you're creating for yourself, and it will present itself as you immerse yourself more and more into it.
Well, there's another question out there too. So for the Yahyel as well. So we'll let Jonathan. There's actually a couple of questions coming in for you and or the Yahyel, however you wish to.
Do you want us to touch?
I'm getting overloaded with questions here.
I know, so that's why I said I don't want to throw a bunch of questions at him. So
so I was going to suggest that I in a minute I will channel the Yahyel, and so you can ask me directly if Wendy or Dave, you can I'll go into the channeling state and bring through the Yahyel and you can ask me directly.
Okay.
Just before about the CE5.
Yes,
I did it on my own, and I did it on my own in my bedroom in my parents' house in the village. So you can definitely do it. This is where I did it for the first 6 or 7 weeks. I definitely agree with Dave. Like, being outside under the stars tends to raise your frequency, so it might be better to do it outside. But like, you certainly don't necessarily need to. And I really just say, just follow what resonates for you. If you are doing it with lots of people, you really need to do it with people that are open to it, that believe it, are kind of more heart-centered, more spiritually open. Because if you're out there doing it with someone who's, oh, I don't believe in this, you know, it's kind of going to block the energy and make it less likely to happen. So, and with regards to the Exodus and the Jewish people. So it's something that interests me because I've got I'm very interested in ancient Egypt, and I'm reading a book called Initiation by Elizabeth Heitch at the minute about the initiatic schools of ancient Egypt and priesthood. And as I understand it, so the Exodus you're talking about, you're talking about how Moses left Egypt with all the Jewish slaves, yeah?
Yes.
So
And the appearance
well,
of
I
lights in the sky.
understand.
And they were guided
Sorry?
by lights in the sky.
Okay, yeah. So as I understand it, like in ancient Egypt, like in Atlantis, we had this civilization called Atlantis that was 12,000 years ago that contained lots of highly evolved beings. But that, you know, the story of the floods, the like beings started to get negatively oriented and selfish and using their high magical powers for selfish needs. But this, they had this initiatic system, which I believe, is it Matthias de Stefano talks about on Gaia TV about initiation in Atlantis. And this initiatic system was then, the knowledge of that was passed down to many areas of the world, including, I believe, around here in Peru. I do a lot of videos on my YouTube channel about the amazing architecture here. It's very similar to what we see in ancient Egypt. It was built by these initiates, these higher dimensional, these higher awareness beings. And so there were these beings around the world that were connected to the Atlantean beings. And a lot of them, if not all of them, I don't know, had these elongated skulls, these elongated craniums. They're huge heads that went back like this, almost a foot, some of them. And there's many Peru and in Egypt. I mean, if you look up a Queen Nefertiti, you'll see Queen Nefertiti. She's got this long head on, long hat on, but she actually had a long skull underneath it. And I believe Nefertiti was married to Akhenaten, who was also one of these higher dimensional. You look at images of Akhenaten, the statues of Akhenaten, Akhenaton or something like that. I have to spell it because it's so strange names. No one will be able to get it in Google. If you look at the statues of Akhenaten, Akhenaten really looks like, he doesn't look very human at all. He looks like an extraterrestrial being. And there's actually a statue in one of the museums of Akhenaten and Nefertiti's son. And he's got this elongated cranium. And see, these are the beings that, I think these are the beings that are referred to as the Anunnaki sometimes. I'm not sure exactly on the connections, but these beings are also known as the sons of gods in Egypt, and because they define the sons of gods and the sons of men. And the sons of men were like us with our smaller heads, and like the sons of gods were these very enlightened beings who lived on another dimension of consciousness, who were like pure one with God. Source consciousness, very much more higher consciousness, and more like the ETs. And yeah, and so I think these are what are called the Nephilim in the Bible as well. There's something in the Bible about how the sons of gods took the daughters of men for their brides, or something like this. And so there was this initiatic system where certain beings in Egypt would go and live in the temples, and they would devote their life to spiritual awakening and to what they called initiation. And they go through a series of tests, such as yoga was a big part of it. They'd master their physical body and then master their mind, so they were able to choose to be in like bliss or hatred or anger, or they could totally control their emotional states. They practice being in all polarities of emotions so they could master their emotional state. And they'd go through what they would call this initiatic system. And as I understand it, Moses was one of these initiates. Moses was taken on by the I can't remember the exact story of Moses, but it's something like he was kind of like wasn't he like a slave or something that was taken under his wing by the Pharaoh, and I don't know the story exactly, but it's something like this. He was like a person.
Yeah,
was,
he was
Dave
brought up under the Pharaoh and taught by the Pharaoh's priests and priestesses in the ways of I'll just use the term magic at the moment. So yes, they did not know he was an Israelite at the time.
Yes, so and let us know, guys, in the chat if the connection's all right, because the connection's getting a little bit weak here, but I think we're all good still. And so I believe Moses was one of these last initiates that had the high magical powers, the high spiritual awakening of the very, the Atlantean beings, the sons of gods, and this higher race that was more like extraterrestrials. So in a sense, Moses was kind of more like an extraterrestrial himself, because he was of another race, another species, like what they call the sons of gods or the Nephilim. And and he went through this initiatic system where he had these magic powers, and where he learned how to do things like part the seas, because wasn't it Moses that parted the seas, so that he could take the Jewish slaves through. Because we were coming to the end, we were kind of in this devolution period where reality was going downhill. There's this story of the cyclical nature of reality, where we're in a 25,200 year cycle, and the peak of that cycle was 12,600 years ago, and this was the peak of Atlantis. And after this, we go through a natural devolution, where it's a very natural part of creation. We go more into materialistic, less spiritual, where people could become more obsessed with power and material gain. And this is very obvious today if you look at like most of society. And so we went through this devolutionary period, and this period where Moses was at, where was the period where the high, pure love light service to other beings, pure spiritual divine beings of the sons of gods were beginning to leave Earth, beginning to stop reincarnating on Earth, and like the pharaohs were beginning to become more warlike, more powerful, more domineering. And so I believe that Moses was probably somewhere where it was beginning to go a bit crazy. And of course they had slaves at that time, so it was a sign that they were already entering into like the more negative states. And but Moses was connected to the pure lineage, and he went through the initiation system, and he was more like an extraterrestrial, and this is where he got his superpowers from, as we might call them today. And is the part of the story that Moses took the Ark of the Covenant with him from Egypt, or is that another story?
The Ark of the Covenant was built after the Israelites left Egypt and received the 10 Commandments, and they needed a place to put them. And the Torah, or Old Testament original Bible, says that they were instructed how to build the arks, very specifically to put the tablets in, to put the manna, or in Hebrew man, which was the food that fell from the sky to feed the Israelites during their 40 years in the desert. And also one of the staffs that was used, which is the idea of staffs is a whole other story, actually part of one of my last very interesting dreams, with the idea of grounding the higher energy into the ground using the staff. So those and some other things were stored in the Ark.
We have a small replica we could show you guys later if you want. It's kind of heavy, but it's right over there.
But yeah, so the Ark supposedly was built after they left Egypt, also with gold and silver that the Egyptians gave to the Israelites, almost bribing them to leave, because they realized that a lot of unpreferred things were happening to them the longer they kept them as slaves. So they sort of said, here, take our gold and silver and get out already. And so when they originally left, it was sort of with permission. However, as the story goes, the Pharaoh changed his mind and then went after them and tried to recapture them. And that's when Moses parted the Red Sea, or I should say, helped facilitate the Red Sea part. And he certainly had assistance throughout the whole story.
Yes.
And as it is written, by day there were clouds in the sky that were obviously, you know, a representative of God in their eyes at the time, but could be ships cloaked in clouds. And during the night, bright lights in the sky, and literally the people followed those lights to the desert, through the desert, and they stayed with them for a 40-year cycle, which we sort of now also learn is the normal cycle of to allow not only the people who were slaves to die out in the group of people. So starting the new life in Israel, they weren't beginning a new life as slaves. They were the next generation, but it's also the 40 years is a common cycle here on Earth to move to a higher reality.
And that's sort of what's, even with Bashar's channeling, I think it'll be done probably in that 40-year cycle. But beside that, though, the idea was, and what came to me was, we did a little research, and I don't want to get too much into this because we do talk about this on our channel, and but it pertains to the Yahyel and their name, in that the name Yahyel is actually comes from Hebrew, which is it one of the names of God?
Which is actually, yes.
Right,
so there are 72
names,
identified names of God, and exactly how they've come up with this, I'm not sure. Certain combinations of letters, Hebrew letters, and numerology where the letters are represented. But Yahyel, if you were to pronounce them, is one of those names. So the idea in the Bible talking about God could just be one representative of God, and Yahyel is in that list.
And wouldn't it be interesting that that representation would have been the lights that of being escorted by the Yahyel? So anyway, we love all of these connecting the dots, and so I know that our co-creation here is not by accident. These things that we've been very excited about for a very long time. So yes.
Yes, so shall I go into the channeling state?
Absolutely. Whenever you're ready, if there's anything else that you wanted to add. I think we're good to go. Yep, I was just checking out to see. So yeah, there's a couple of questions waiting. So yes, whenever you're ready.
Okay, so I'll just go into the channeling state. It'll just take me a moment or two. One moment. As Michelle says.
No,
and
as there is only one.
And yeah. And they will announce themselves and probably say something. And just ask them questions, like any questions you have is fine.
Very good. Very excited.
Hello, hello, Shivai. Hello, welcome, welcome. I'm Yahyel. Yahyel. Hello, 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 hello. How are we today, Earth humans? We love you very much. We hope you're enjoying resonating on our frequency, on our dimensional resonance, on our dimensional pitch, for we very much enjoy coming through in this way at this time to your reality. So if you would like to speak to us, we will be very willing to share with you our frequency with your reality at this time. Hello, do you have any questions for us at this time? Hello, hello, hello.
Thank you. Hello and welcome. Thank you for being with us today, Tahinio. Thank you. We're very excited to chat with you today. Yes, we were wondering, first off, if there was any plans to do another perhaps mass type of sighting, much like the Phoenix Lights were, if there was any plans to do that in our current vibration.
Well, in our current vibration, no, because our current vibration is that which is existing in this present moment. And if it were to be occurring in this present moment, there would be a mile-wild craft hovering over your house now. If you want to go outside, we feel free for you to do that. However, we suggest we are not here at this time. However, yes, very much so. There are plans in place that have arrangements that have been made with you already. However, you do not fully coherently remember this arrangement. But if you were to fully coherently remember this arrangement, you would be going out and making videos about this and saying, hey, the Yahyel have told me they're going to show up over X and X city at X and X time. And when it occurred, you would probably find that it would be overwhelming, that you would be the person that predicted the sighting of a mile-wide ship that hundreds of thousands of people saw, and you would have every TV channel in the world wanting to have you on their show, and this would be a little overwhelming for you. So this is why it is currently still clouded from your consciousness. However, we have made arrangements with you to make this connection, to make this arrangement, and we have made agreements with many of you in your reality to be where you need to be as this occurs. So we have contacted many beings in the state where we are planning. Oops, we've given away a little bit already over where we are coming. The state that we are planning to fly over, we have arranged with many beings. Some of you, perhaps, some of you actually listening to this recording, we have made arrangements with you on a soul level, on a higher dimensional level, on a higher plane of existence in the dream time, to be ready for us to be there. And you have agreed to be there. You have agreed to watch the sighting. You have agreed to be there. So very exciting. We have dropped a tidbit. So some of you that are seeing this video / recording, it could be either, are going to be there and see the ship for yourselves. We have made the agreement. We have made the arrangements. And so arrangements have been made, agreements have been made, and we are planning, plans are in the works to be showing up a specific time in your specific reality on a specific date where we sense the vibrations will be well attuned, well acclimatized to being accessible to this experience, being very vibrational conducive, so that all of us and you included, gain the most from the situation. And yes, things are in flux, nothing is set in stone. However, we do have a solid date set in place, and no, we cannot share it with you at this time, or the location exactly, although we have given some hints already in this quick briefing.
So
We're very
for
excited.
these, when these sightings do take place, what are the recommended actions that the Yahyel are looking for to take place as to further the excitement of those sightings to move toward an open contact? What are the types of things that you would recommend that the persons having the sightings actually do to ground that into their reality?
So those beings that are relevant to be there at the right time, it will occur through synchronicity. So in a sense, there's nothing you need to do. However, we can give you some tips to make you more tuned into your own synchronicity, to make you more tuned in to vibrations that will facilitate you to naturally know where to be when you need to be there. And so the best way we would suggest to attune to your synchronicity is learn to follow your intuition. Learn to follow the consciousness of your heart. Learn to follow your excitement, your passion. Learn to follow the guidance of higher self, higher mind, which is usually fed to you in your reality through the vibrational frequency of excitement. This is why we strongly suggest, as do the Shakani, Sasani, Bashar civilization, for you to follow your excitement. Because when you are following your excitement, moment to moment, to the best of your ability, without hesitation, without expectation, and the knowledge and the understanding, will you will always be supported in following your excitement and your passion and your calling and your mission, because you have supported yourself from your higher perspective in this reality, in this dimension, at this time, in not following your excitement, not following your passion, being completely out of alignment with who you are. So why would you not support yourself from a higher perspective with the vibrational abundance you need to exist in this reality when you are following your highest excitement? So tune into these frequencies, tune into that which brings you joy, tune into that which brings you excitement, tune into that which brings you exhilaration, tune into that which brings you bliss, tune into that which brings you serenity, tune into that which brings you peace, Tune into that which brings you ecstatic explosions of synchronicity evermore. Amen. For these are the vibrations that connect you to the web of synchronicity. These are the vibrations that connect you to the web of higher mind, the essence of yourself. The essence of yourself is bliss. The essence of yourself is joy. The essence of yourself is a frequency that explodes you into ecstatic expressions of yourself. So the more and more you tune to these vibrations, the more and more you tune into your spiritual path, the more and more you tune into your spiritual calling, you will actually be raising your frequency, raising your vibrational state, raising your levels of consciousness as it was once called into this reality, activating the higher energy centers, the higher nervous centers within your system to tune you into the vibrational frequencies of a much higher dimensional reality. When you are tuned into this reality, when you've actually created this reality for yourself within your consciousness, in a sense, synchronicity makes up a part of this higher dimensional reality. Some of you may have noticed when you see UFOs, when you see sightings of ships in your skies, when you connect with the idea of higher dimensional frequencies, such as the frequencies we are transmitting to you in your reality at this time, synchronicity increases. You tend to bump into people you weren't expecting to see, and there tends to be a reason you're like, oh my gosh, I wanted to see you and you're just here. You tend to find the information you need to find. You tend to like find the exact book you need to find. The video, the YouTube video you wish to see just tends to pop into your reality. And the idea is you're tuning into a higher dimensional reality where everything is co-created from your own consciousness, from the source of creation, and everything is kind of spreading out like a web from the center, and everything is interconnected, and you are beginning to enter a much more synchronous, a much more coincidental, as you may call it in your reality. And so the more you raise your frequency, the more you expand your consciousness, the more you became the being you came here to be, the more you became the passion, the more you become the excitement, the more you became the calling, the joy, the frequency of who you truly are in your heart of hearts, the more you begin to express as the joy and the bliss and the ecstasy that each and every one of you are, the more you will experience synchronous circumstances in your reality, and the more you will naturally find yourself drawn almost uncontrollably into a situation where you see a huge, great, mile wide or greater mothership in your reality. Shiva and Amen.
And once we experience a sighting, what is the best way to bring more of that in, and to ground that energy here into this reality? What do we do with that information now that we've had a sighting? You know, what should we do next?
Continue to follow your excitement, continue to follow your passion, continue to follow your bliss, your joy, your peace, your serenity, anything that brings you a high vibrational frequency. For while it may not seem to be connected on the surface, if you are passionate about seeing more and more ships, having more and more experiences, having more and more contact with our civilization and other civilizations, this is a sign that from a higher perspective, from the perspective of your higher self, from your soul contracts, from your soul's journey, from the agreements you made prior to this incarnation, linearly speaking, you desire to have more experiences, to see more ships. The very reason you're passionate and excited to see more is a sign that it's part of your calling, part of your mission, part of your contract, as we might say, on Earth at this time. And so all you really need to do is begin to follow the guidance of the higher mind, begin to follow the guidance of the higher self. And the way you do this is by following your excitement, following any frequency which brings you joy, peace, serenity, bliss, what you may call the higher dimensional frequencies, those things that make you feel good. The more you do the things that make you feel good, the more you are tuning into the consciousness of your higher self. And the more you are very subtly and cunningly, from the perspective of the higher self, we might say, being guided towards that which will bring you more contact, that which will bring you more sightings, that which will bring you more bliss, joy, and expansion in your reality.
You may also, during this process, go through lots of challenging experiences, going through lots of challenging lessons. But the idea is many of you are holding on to negative belief systems. Many of you are holding on to negative perspectives. Many of you are still holding on to fear, which is holding you back from having more and more contact experiences and more visceral and more physical contact experiences. So you must process, you must learn to let go of the fear. And thus you will be guided towards lessons that will allow you to let go of fear once and forevermore. Amen.
Shiva.
Shiva.
Mm-hmm. So Christina Ion asks, can the Yahyel give us some advice on healing the physical body?
Yes, well, one example is how the channel is actually healing his own body in this present moment. For the channel has actually gone through some physical challenges lately and his body isn't in the best shape. However, he is noticing that during this channeling, the intense deep breathing he's going through is causing a radical healing of his body in this moment. And so this would be our first tip: deep oxygenation of your system. Get out into nature. Sorry, that sounded a bit hostile.
Mm-hmm.
At your wish, choose somewhere blissful in nature if this resonates, and go through a deep breathing exercise. Learn about breath work, learning about pranayama, as it has been called in your ancient Eastern civilizations for a long time, yogic breathing. The idea of deep breathing in a space in your reality that has good oxygen around trees, around mountains, around nature. If you have to do it in the city, if that's your only option, that is better than nothing, but you understand the areas of your reality that have better, clearer air than in your city centers. Deep breathing is an excellent way to heal the physical body, centering yourself, coming back to center, coming back to relaxation. The more you can relax the system, the more you can relax your nervous centers, your chakra systems, the nervous body, the more you feel calm and centered, the more your body will naturally come back to a healing state. The more you eat purer, higher frequency foods, to the best of your ability, the vegetative plant kingdom foods, the more you will harmonize your frequencies, harmonize your body. So ultimately, it's about bringing your body back to homeostasis, about bringing your body back to its natural high vibrational frequency state. So the energies can move up and down the chakra system, up and down your spinal cord very naturally, very flowingly, and can thus energize and harmonize the energy field of your body. And so the harmonized energy field will create a opportunity for your body to come back to stasis, to come back to balance, to come back to center, where your body can very naturally and easily heal itself. Does this help?
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. Heather Houston asks, why the Yahyel take me to their ships while she's sleeping?
Sorry, what was the question? Why do the Yahyel?
Yes, why do the Yahyel take her to the Yahyel ships while she is sleeping?
So this is part of what you may term your mission, your calling, your highest excitement, your life plan. You have agreed on a higher level prior to this incarnation, linearly speaking, to be part of first contact, to be part of the spiritual awakening of humanity, particularly through the path of extraterrestrial contact. And so you have made agreements in other dimensions to have these experiences, so you can begin to attune your vehicle, begin to attune your energy body, and begin to attune your physical body to the frequencies of our civilization, so you can begin to become more comfortable being around us, being around extraterrestrial beings in general, so that when the time comes in your reality to begin to have physical experiences, both ship sightings in the skies and, more importantly, physical contact with our civilization, you will be ready. You will be acclimatized to our vibrational frequency, so it does not have too much of a shock on your nervous system. You will be less fearful of interaction with our beings because you will be more used to seeing them, and you will be more ready in general to take on the next part of your calling, your mission, and your journey on planet Earth, and whatever timing that comes, and understand and trust that that timing will be perfect in its culmination.
What a perfect answer.
Absolutely.
Sean Rose asked, Did the Yahyel still plan to be the first to make open contact? And my understanding is the Yahyel will be the first to help facilitate bringing the hybrid children, but not necessarily the first ETs that actually have physical open contact with us. Perhaps the Pleiadians, Sean asks. Can you tell us a little?
Well, you have hit the divine nail on the head with the Pleiadians. For according to the current plan, the Pleiadians will be the first civilization to reach out to your civilization in the form of open contact. We will be the first hybrid species, most likely at this time.
Thank you for that confirmation.
So right now there are some Yahyel physically visiting the planet from time to time, correct?
Yes, we were here just above the channel's house just a few nights ago. The channel, day things.
How about on a one-to-one contact with the people as opposed to just chips? I mean, showing up, physical bodies meeting.
It is rare, but it is occurring. The channel has had physical contact with our civilization.
Okay. So the idea of collective open contact, it is likely at this time to be the Pleiadians first, but that doesn't mean that a Yahyel ship can't land in your backyard and come out and you know, hang out with you.
Very much so, yes. On an individual basis, we are having physical contact with beings in your reality more and more. Most are not remembering at all. Some are remembering bits after the experience. A very rare few are remembering the experience as it occurs, as they have prepared their vibrational frequency. But these are more kind of beings that have lived in seclusion as kind of spiritual wayseers, what you may call monks, but even beyond monks, because they are mostly living in the high mountains of places like Tibet, Peru, on their own in seclusion from civilization, and have gone through radical spiritual transformations and are able to keep their vibrational field strong enough through their seclusion from humanity that they are able to fully consciously and presently remember the contact experiences without having any side effects that may have negative consequences on their nervous system and their psyche.
We understand.
Mhm.
Sean?
Sean also asks about free energy devices. Do the Yahyel seeing us achieving this soon? And I want to just add that as the scientists and others who are connecting with their intuition to work on these types of devices, free energy, other technologies, do the Yahyel see this happening soon, as in 1 year, 4 years, 8 years? And is that something that is probably going to happen after open contact or before open contact, or something else entirely?
This will be occurring after open contact, and we will be distributing free energy devices in your civilization, specifically to the places in your world that need them most initially. However, this will be quite some years down your timeline, around 20 years as we sense it at present, and it will be a point in your reality where your engineers and your scientists have already come to create these devices themselves. However, they will likely be at an unstable phase and still somewhat dangerous. But at this point, we sense we will be allowed to bridge the gap and begin to distribute more, well, highly stable devices in your reality. Initially in those parts of your world, such as in Africa, where there is very little electricity
and people are still going through challenging times, it will be these places that receive them first.
Excellent, thank you. I'm very excited about the next question, Frederick. Very, very synchronistic, your question. I'd like to say, firstly, the question is, as Bashar talks about the permission slips, like sacred circuits, how the green contact crystal is related to the Yahyel and how to use it with the Yahyel. And so first, I'd like to say that the sacred circuits is something I've been using for a long time. And we've actually got a class coming up, a little workshop coming up about symbols related to the work with the sacred circuits. And I would like to share this energy with all of you. I don't think you're going to be able to see it very well. I'm wearing the contact crystal right now. So to all of you who are present and whenever you watch this video in connection with Dave and I and the Sasani and the Yahyel and Jonathan, I'd like to take this opportunity to allow all of you to use this permission slip right now, and our connections to all of the interstellar alliance. And so with that, I'd like to also ask the Yahyel, how would you answer that question, and how can we use that contact crystal? How is it related to the Yahyel, and how maybe we use it to contact with the Yahyel?
So the contact crystal that you see around the heart of the presenter in front of us that has just been displayed to you is representative of Bashar's family crest, as we understand it. So, in a sense, the symbol you see around the presenter's heart, chest, at this time is symbolic of Bashar, and Bashar being kind of the seed crystal for contact. And so, if you imagine with the crystal having several straight edge facets around the side, you can add many crystals. So the contact crystal is hexagonal in shape. This is correct, yes?
Yes.
So around the edges of the contact crystal, according to this particular geometric pattern, is very deeply connected to the line structure and the geometric structure of your reality itself. But that's another story entirely. You can imagine connecting 6 more crystals of the same shape. 1 to the right, 1 to the left, 1 diagonally up right, 1 diagonally up left, and 1 diagonally down left, and 1 diagonally down right. And so if you imagine the crystal that is connected diagonally up right, that represents our civilization. For the idea is that Bashar came to your reality as a seed in the present moment. In a sense, we did not even exist in your reality at that time, for everything is created in the physical moment. Everything is created in the present moment as a conscious projection of your own self. So Bashar was created first in your reality. You connected to a parallel reality timeline where Bashar existed. Later on, you connected to a parallel reality timeline where several hybrid species. And so you may also consider that the Sasani is symbolized by the center crystal, the crystal you see around the presenter's neck in front of you. And so imagine 6 hybrid civilizations, all represented by 6 more crystals, the same, identical, but with different symbols in the center, surrounding the center crystal. And we are represented by the diagonally upright crystal, kind of growing like a crystal, kind of growing like consciousness, kind of growing like
from the seed that was originally sown with Bashar's channeling some 30 odd years ago in your civilization. And later we grew from this crystal seed that was sown in your reality by Darrell Anchor, the wonderful and beautiful Bashar channel at this time. So does this answer your question? Would you like more clarity, more confirmation?
And please let us know in the chat. Yes, I thank you for that. Yes, and that answers my question as well, about the same thing. And I felt the sixth hybrid race representation also. As you were speaking, I could feel exactly what you were explaining. And I feel much the same way. I could visualize actually what you were explaining. So thank you for that.
We could feel them here with us. And I do have a question about the sacred circuits that Bashar presented to us. So I believe he said that they were originally presented to the Sasani by the Yahyel, who received them from Sirius. We've only received the first 15. And I know we can create our own using our intuition and following our highest joy. But did the Yahyel want to present us with the next set?
Right now, no. If you communicate with the channel about this, and we shall have a perhaps three-way discussion.
Yes, that would be very exciting.
That would be very exciting.
And perhaps the seed of the next symbol is already growing in the idea of 3 points, a trinity, a triangle.
Very good.
Oh, yes. And it also so happens that my logo is also
So sit with the symbol of the triangle for a minute. We understand this is a symbol that has already been shared by the Bashar with your civilization.
yes.
Sit with the triangle and we will talk about this in another now. All right?
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Very good. And I do personally also, and I mentioned to Jonathan, to know a little bit more about the relationship between the Yahyel name and Hebrew and the Israelites and the Exodus. If you could explain a little bit about that.
The connection is getting a little weak at this time. And also the channel is feeling a little fatigued. So we will take this as a synchronous representation that in this now, it is time to end this transmission and give the channel his own energy back and give him an opportunity to relax. However, we would be keen and eager to pick up this conversation in a similar format or the same format, although of course similar because two things are the same, in another now. So if you would take our gratitude for giving us the opportunity to interact in this way at this time, we will say thank you. We will offer our love, our light, our well-being, and our blessings to each and every one of you involved in this interaction at this time. And we will give you back to the channel, who is a little tired at this time.
Thank you very much
Thank
for your
you
co-creation.
so much. Thank you to all of our Yahyel family, to Tahinio, to Jonathan. Thank you so much.
Our infinite love to all of you.
Thank you to Shiva and good day.
Shivai. Ha'atu.
Ha'atu.
Welcome back.
Hello again.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I was just thinking I had another question in my head, and but that's exciting because that means that there's more questions. Oh, that was really fun. Thank you so
That was
much.
awesome.
It's so fun to be in the energy, and thank you so much for bringing through the questions, the answers for everyone. And yes, that answered the question perfectly. So thank you. And thank all of you out there for lending us your ears and your eyes and your energy and your love and your questions for the Yahyel and for Jonathan. And so yeah, so feel free if there's anything else that you guys would like to ask any of us. I'm really excited about the contact crystal question. I thought that was really awesome. Thank you for that information. It's something that I had, it's funny, you guys talk about manifestation. And when I very first found Bashar, I really, really, really wanted this crystal. And it was just one thing led to another, and it actually turned out to ended up to being gifted to me through a session. And so I thought that was really exciting. And so I wear it as often as I can. I wear it out in public as often as I can, because I truly believe that even if people don't know what's, the energy that's like hit them, it's like, I feel like when I go out into the world with it, it's like my permission slip to say, hey, everybody, feel the energy of all of this, our ET connections. And yes, the triangle is a very, very powerful a symbol. And I use it too in my own logo. So
So I'm not sure how much you remember, Jonathan, about what you were channeling, but it's pretty exciting, the idea that perhaps together in some way we can help facilitate receiving the next set of sacred circuitry, which is pretty darn exciting. I know.
And that's such a big synchronicity, because I've been using them, and it's funny because even Jonathan, before we did, the hangout, the first webinar, when we were talking just personally, we were talking about the sacred circuits and using them. And so even Jonathan has them and was sort of flashing them like flashcards, while we're talking and stuff too. So it's something that I've used since I found them in every way that I could be interested or excited to use them and to share them with everybody, and then started getting downloaded with my own symbols. And so that's part of what the next workshop is going to be. So if you guys are interested, check out my website. And also, Jonathan, I wanted to talk about that a little bit too, to tell people about, excuse me, about your ET contact facilitation classes and things that you're working on, to help other people connect with their ET guides and open up to this stuff. And so yeah, please do, tell us about what you're doing and along your workshop lines and classes.
Yeah, I got a couple of things, particularly going on with the workshops at the minute. Wendy, it's funny, like when I was channeling, your name wouldn't come through. I remember, like every time, like something was saying, like, when I was talking about crystal and other things, like now stop channeling. I remember your name again.
Well, maybe I have a different energetic name somewhere else. I've come across a few in my own channeling of my own fractals.
So our counterparts with the AL were probably predominant in the energy.
Yeah, it was like they were saying, no, that Earth name isn't right to be used in this situation.
Yeah, the hyper children have come to know me by several different names, and and funny, maybe Jonathan, you might, in your own experience. Oh, well, I don't want to jump too far ahead. So first tell us about your classes and stuff, because I could ask you a million questions.
Yeah, I got a couple of things particularly going on at the minute. If you check out my website, jonathantrinity.com, perhaps Wendy will drop a link to it somewhere.
Yeah, the links are all in the description of this video, you guys. All of his links for everywhere.
Right, I've got I've got a couple of things going on. Hopefully they're both listed on the homepage. I'm not very organized at the minute. I used to be so organized with this website stuff, but it's not been so resonating. But I think it's all up there. I'm starting doing, like, I've been doing it for a while, but I've actually got the name for it now. Like the name for what I'm doing. I'm doing one-to-one sessions, one-to-one coaching, and I'm calling it Contact and Awakening Coaching. And I always call my first experience I had in 2009 a contact stroke awakening experience. And my whole YouTube channel is about ET contact and spiritual awakening. So I see them as very much connected. And I think Dave and Wendy, you probably agree, like ET contact and spiritual awakening, it seems almost like one and the same thing, wouldn't you?
It sort of does. And, you know, it's kind of funny because people have often asked, and I think all of us as well have asked in our own journeys, is one predicated upon the other? Is one a prerequisite for the other? And the answer is no. They're literally two separate things happening simultaneously. But I have to say that I don't think that we could be meeting our extraterrestrial friends if we weren't going through this process, because we wouldn't be raising our vibration enough to do so. So is it necessary? Bashar says no, they're not even, what do you call that? They're mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
But yet,
I think as you're raising your frequency by whatever means, the awareness of the rest of who we are and the rest of all that is becomes part of your awareness. So that's just a natural thing, and wanting to embrace more of who you are. It's not necessary, but I think it's just intrinsically related. And I think also, particularly with the hybridization program and how that pertains to us here on Earth, I think really the bigger picture is there might be some here on Earth collectively that want the Earth experience, but I think from the majority is we're all really here when people wonder, you know, what's my mission? I think really the point is to continue on with the hybridization program and move toward the seventh hybrid race. What was it? Homo Galacticus.
yes, Homo, and you know,
and really from the start of humanity as we know it, there was hybridization occurring, and with the Anu and so on and so forth, that sort of became the point of everything. So some people may not be interested in that, but I think that more and more the following your highest joy and excitement is taking you to
kind of still is the answer to everything.
That direction.
Well, and actually it wasn't until I got super excited about the idea of, you know, going into the version of reality where I literally can envision us interacting with them, and then the point where we're actually start having children with them, and then we create another generation. And I have had a couple of occasions where I have actually been able to channel someone from the 6th and 7th hybrid races. It's a very, very strange feeling. And I have to say it didn't last long, because I have to be in a very specific state of being, to frequency, to have those interactions. And then you think, oh my God, like I'm making it all up. That couldn't possibly have happened. And, you know, also the connections that with the fractals that we have, like I know I have a Sasani counterpart, because that's part of protocol is we create counterparts on, as Tahinio and you do, as Bashar and Daryl did, you know, we create a counterpart on that planet in which they wish to, you know, create first contact with. So I've I've been able to talk to that entity. His name's Echo. And then, but it's, so I wanted to reiterate to people that sometimes you think you're making it up and then it's not real. But the thing is, you can't imagine what you're not the vibration of already. So you wouldn't be able to even make it up or think it up if you weren't already actually having that experience in some fashion.
Yes. So who is the 6th and the 7th hybrid race? Do you know? I can't quite remember.
Well, I don't believe that they've actually.
Well, the 6th hybrid race is going to be
the
combination of all the hybrid races and the human race.
And then the 7th is a combination of all of them. Now, I don't understand even actually what that means. That's actually a really good question, I think, for Bashar, is because he said in one of the events something, it's the combination of all 7, but is it the, I don't think it's not, I was under the impression when he said it was not the culmination of, or not the result of the 6th and then becoming the 7th. The 7th was the integration of all the races, including the 6th one, and all of that would become this like superhuman 7th hybrid race that would be basically non-physical, I would say.
I think it's as
non-physical
as you can be
without like disappear. Right.
Well, and it's
which
probably,
the Shikani are going that direction
it's
as
probably
well.
Similar to that, where you're not really physical, but you can be, and we're not really sure, but
no,
it's supposedly creating a civilization that has not existed
ever in all creation,
in any other way.
Which is why we're all here, is to right now in this gathering, even right now, that this is what we're all going for, if you want to call it that, is the idea that we get to participate in a more conscious level now as we integrate and ascend. We get to actually participate in a more conscious level of all of this, and that's it's just so, it's so bizarre and exciting. I don't even know how to wrap my own mind around it most of the time.
And we're constantly, thinking about what is truly exciting us more. And the participating with the hybrid children is pretty high on the list.
Makes me pretty emotional sometimes if we can actually and it's not just about visualization, you guys, it's about actually feeling it in your heart space. Feel it. Like and I know this is probably just a metaphor, but I literally picture them walking through my front door. Like, what's that gonna be like? Like, and I see it like this hybrid mother walking in, and she's got, like children on her arms, and they're more grown children. And I see, that's the vision I see of them actually, coming into my home. And I tell you what, I cry half the time because the sheer lovingness of that idea.
Yeah, I think it's even going to take us a few days to integrate all this information and just the sharing together of.
I'll be interested, you guys, too, to see what I would love to hear you guys, sharing any interactions or things that might happen to you following these events. Because I know that anyone who's watching, it's because you're here to participate with all of this and interact. And so I would love to hear, the subsequent things that you may have experienced if you watch the first one, and then maybe what has happened since maybe after this one. Let me know, let Jonathan know, because I think it's really, I think it's exciting for my own growth and expansion and my own validation, to say, yes, I also had an increased amount of, dream memories or interactions, or even heart expanding experiences out in nature or stuff like that. I'm always curious to see, do you guys get affected by this stuff like I do? I want to know.
Yeah, so just quickly, where I was at before, yeah, I've also got a group course coming up on the website. You can sign up, or jonathantrinity.com
Oh, good.
/ it's, what's it called? It's called Contact, Telepathy, Contact, Telepathy and Channeling, something like that. It's a course coming up in September. It's a group course. And we'd love to have some of you in there. I did a survey of people why they sign up for my courses. What I got from a lot of people is because I just wanted to join a group and have fun. It was kind of that. And so the groups are really light-hearted. We just have a lot of fun. It's like, don't be thinking, oh, I'm not spiritually evolved enough to join the class or anything. It's nothing like that. It's just we kind of make it as fun as possible. It's for people of whether you're just completely new to this or you're regularly in contact with Bashar and meet him every night for coffee. Really light-hearted. So
I think that would be fun. I would actually love to participate. I was thinking about that I would love to participate also in an event of yours, just to just be a part, like you said, just be a part of the energy and have fun and see what comes through, and get other people's take on things. And Dave and I will be doing more and more of those things too. So we do hope that you'll come back and hang out with us too, and do more stuff on Open Contact TV. We're really gonna getting more and more talking about the protocols of first contact, and the more and more excited we all, like you said, being passionate about it, and how can, I think most of us are still like, it's an exciting idea in theory, but I don't know how many of us are really bringing it home, like what would it really be like, to have another race of beings from another planet or planetary system, or just to be here. We have enough trouble figuring out, how to interact with nature. And this is one of the reasons why why we're encouraged to hang out with nature, because, like my frog video, it's like, we don't even know the kinds of beings that are out there. And even our own beings on our own planet they're so fascinating. And so it's kind of interesting to imagine, maybe there are, well, we know that those from Orion are like frog beings. And so, I guess that's a really good synchronicity. So there it is, even the Orion energy, and how all of that has to do with the star Sirius and the Sirius energy pouring in. So yeah, it's really exciting. So yeah, is there anything else, or what else, Jonathan? You got any other questions or comments or sharings?
Yeah. Just please join us on the course. It'd be great to have you two join us on the course. It's just kind of like this, but with more people, and we just have a lot of fun. And
that'd be awesome.
Go towards contact.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And we encourage all of you to, in whatever ways that you can, to get out there and interact. If this stuff interests you, and even, if you're maybe this will help push somebody out there who maybe has been thinking about starting their own YouTube channel and just wants to talk about their experiences, or maybe you've been too afraid to go to a hangout, with people in in strangers, so let this be your invitation to, just, follow your heart, let all your fears aside, and just jump in and do it. And like Jonathan said, it's just like us. We're just people, we just do normal stuff too in our day-to-day lives, just like everybody else. But we also just happen to be following our highest joy and passion when it comes to all of this. And, still getting the everyday stuff done, the cleaning and shopping, so.
Well, the challenge is figuring out how to do those things in our highest joy and excitement.
And the funny thing is, you guys, when we go out in the world and we do these things, just our normal business, like wearing the contact crystal or whatever, but just walking out there after a hangout like this, go out into the world and share this high energy, because people will, they'll feel it. They'll, no matter what, it's just, it's our way of literally spreading this energy. Even if it's just love, just love.
So we know the Yahyel are still here hanging out, as well as many others. Would you like to offer a light language blessing?
Oh, okay. I guess we
before
could
we
do that
finish?
before we finish. I hadn't really thought of that, but okay, great.
Mhm.
Okay, well, great. So before we close up, I'll just share a little light language blessing. And if any of you are new to light language or want to know more about that, check out my Languages of Lights page as well to find out a little bit about my story, how I came into it, and if there's any way that I can help facilitate that with you, if that interests you, as well as connecting with other of your soul fractals and oracle readings and so forth. So when we speak light languages, my Yahyel and Sasani counterparts are always part of the transmission, as well as my own Pleiadian inner aspects. And that goes with all of you and Jonathan, all of us. We are living simultaneous parallel realities as all of these beings. They're part of our soul. They're part of our soul, which makes them part of us. So to connect with all of those, light language has helped me open up to that and open up to my fractals and open up to all of this, all of this. And so that's part of what the transmission for this, and my intention will be for today, is to help all of us facilitate higher consciousness thinking, thinking from the heart space, encouraging all of us to go out and be more of all that we are, and stop being afraid to go out in the world and do what you love. I'm stopped being afraid of talking about ETs. I've stopped being afraid of talking about Sasquatch. I've stopped being afraid of doing this in my life. That's how we ground this energy, and that's how we crystallize this. And again, we are not changing the earth we're moving to a version of the reality in which we all prefer to interact in a higher consciousness state, and a state from love and humanity, rather than the distortions that are taking place on these other versions of Earth. So that is my intention. I love you. Thank you, all of you, for being here. Thank you, Jonathan and the Yahyel. And we encourage all of you to look up and invite. And the more we do this, the more we come to know ourselves, which is the number one thing you came here to do. That is your one and only mission, to come here and know yourself, know more fully and integratively, which is integrity. That's what that word means, integrated, that we are all integrating these higher aspects of ourselves to accept ourselves more fully, more completely, more loving, and in order to accept other species coming here, we have got to appreciate and value and accept and acknowledge ourselves and love ourselves. And this is something I work on a daily basis, just like everyone else. So you're not alone. We're all in this together. And so Nisiala show ilahimaro kushivesala me umayari kishasani. Metaviando vishi moro vishenatea intera kasoldi. Liavashone velahala la Vicente kidlashasopore la intera sono vishai inaniata. Blashi andovetea la intaya upwa. Ploshoveseno to vesuparia iite. Mojaya nate uluhuma alavisono livado kose inetivo una kile sevishise. Mo onteva ashu tuva inaya elesido shoku. And I will say that I'm hearing the Arcturians right now come into the power through the Arcturian gate, the Sirius gate. Our connections to the Fey realms, the elements, the elementals, strengthen and encourage the changes in our brain synapses to be better receivers, better givers, and better transmitters of love and high vibration. Lavontoveshono, silvosoporaveshetu, kun intera sose, ni lala unero koshe mirforte, ti naya alese, tufashonotova, analina no unto vialota vishase, Tiana. Would you, I was just asked if you would be so kind to offer a light language and or Hebrew prayer or message, if you might.
Aui ikana te e ua nea a te e kanutu ua ne e a te e akana te ua aina te e a ua ne te e akana te ua.
That was light language.
And I will say Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehachianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. And that is blessed this now moment, for all moments are now and they are always all new.
And that's a Hebrew prayer.
That's a Hebrew prayer. Thank you, Yahyel.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you. We'll all see you again.
Thank you. See you all now. Bye.
Thank you, Jonathan. Bye-bye.
Thank you. We love you all.